The Jumpsuiters podcast. This is what we are doing right now. We have a light. It was sunshine a moment ago.
Yeah, and then it was a downpour, and now it's just kind of overcast.
Okay, I want to make sure.
It's pouring.
Pouring?
It is pouring the rain.
This is episode 1?
Yeah. And if we hate it, episode none.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We're going to have an Airstream eventually, and it's going to be a studio, and there's going to be the lights and the things. But right now, that's being worked on and built, and so we're in my house.
You're in your house.
Outside of Nashville on Old Hickory Lake. That's where Johnny Cash, that's where his home was and then burned down.
So is there like a plot of it burnt down, or did someone build something on top of it?
Oh, no, yeah. I mean, it's like ruins. You know, you can see like the base of the brick and the fireplace and stuff like that. But
they just keep it.
Uh-huh.
It's like a monument.
I don't know if it's a monument, but I think people honor him so much that they have kept it.
Cool.
Maybe that's a monument.
Yeah.
What's the definition of a monument?
Yeah. Google. Speaking of Google, you should read through...
Oh, the freelance stuff?
The freelance stuff.
Yeah.
When you were building Jumpsuit, it based in a 1099 universe where everyone's 1099, and simultaneously the freelancer market is going through the roof. That's how a lot of people are working now.
Yeah.
Did you see that and be like, this is just a gut feeling I have and how I want to build a company, or did you also see that is where things were headed?
Yeah, a little bit of both.
Yeah.
I think the gut feeling came into play when I saw some of the most talented people I had ever worked with leaving traditional employment and going out on their own.
Right.
Right. So I knew that that's where a lot of the best people were gathering, and they were being successful, right? Because starting their own businesses, taking on their own clients, doing things their own way, working wherever they want, and their lifestyles, you know, their personal lives, we're seeing a benefit there. So yeah, I definitely saw that as something that would be happening more and more. I think I didn't want to have like a headquarters. I didn't want to have a lot of the overhead, because overhead means you have to make certain decisions that you might not want to make.
Right.
You know, like hiring people if you're unsure if the work's going to be there, and then working like so hard to keep people billable. And so you end up staffing projects with the people who have capacity for it versus the people who are the right people for it. So there were certain things that I felt like a traditional employee, like, you know, W-9 situation wasn't going to give us, it wasn't going to give us the competitive advantage that working with freelancers would.
And you've seen that competitive advantage very quickly. I mean, it was maybe like a few months in.
Yeah. I mean, it's scalable in a lot of ways, right? You're not limited to who's regionally around you. So I could work with people in LA or New York or wherever. And someone would come in for a certain type of project, and they'd have a really unique specialized skill set, which then we could build a product or a capability around. So, and that's how we became full service, is we built a network of really extremely talented people in various areas.
Yeah.
You know, product design, SEO, branding, you name it. We pulled in experts who are already like running their own businesses and doing fantastic work. And then we started collaborating together. And then, you know, saying, who else do you guys love to work? Who do you vouch for? Let's get them in here too. And so the very, you know, first couple of years of Jumpsuit growing, its 1099 contractor network was very referral based, and there were a lot of advantages to that, because people could come in with an instant trust, just plug in and be trusted to do the job, you know, or to solve the problem. Our very first inner circle of people working were generalists, though. In some ways, like, we worked with people who could do a lot of things, who have done a lot of things and can handle 80% of the work themselves. And then we pull in the areas where, like, they need the support, but that's how we stay lean. And that's how we're able to give opportunities to these contractors, give them opportunities where they can say yes to a very specific client problem to solve, whatever. Like, they get the freedom to say, I want to do that. And that feels really different from the client side of you, because someone's like, I said yes to you and not to this. That doesn't happen in other agencies. You can't say no.
Yeah.
You get put where you put. Yeah, and on top of that, I think it just built a really self-aware culture where you could go in as a unicorn and handle a few different things, and to make sure that you have the support you need when you need it, you have to be able to say, hey, I need help.
Yeah.
Or, hey, now's the time to bring in this kind of designer because my skill set kind of ends here. I'm not the best person for the job. And,
right.
you know, that's a really hard thing for people to say when they're trying to survive on their own, and, you know, and like
no, it's true.
Win work. They're like,
no, I can do it. Absolutely. Even if it's their weakest thing.
Yeah. I just always thought that was interesting.
This company simultaneously is just a bunch of freelancers.
Yeah.
And the freelancer economy is growing exponentially in a lot of ways. And we were even looking at some stats earlier.
Yeah. You want me to pull them up?
I do.
They're up. It was already there on the screen, James.
Perfect.
Okay.
It's like we planned this.
Okay, so let's talk about the freelancer economy.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are they doing?
Cats, they're flying through the air is what they're doing.
Glenn, Bubba. Mama's trying to make a podcast.
Mama's trying to make a podcast. Calling yourself. But the freelancer economy is booming.
Yeah, because it's an economy.
Yes.
Yes.
And it affects multiple things.
I think that people used to think of like freelancer network, just like freelancers exist out there. I can hire them on Fiverr.
Yeah.
Or, you know, Upwork or Market or Hire and just get a freelancer, a copywriter, whatever you need. It's an economy. Like people are freelancing to start their own businesses, and it's happening so fast at scale that now there's all these other businesses that couldn't have existed 5 years ago now emerging to support this economy.
Yeah.
Different ways to provide insurance for yourself when you go out on your own, right? Software solutions to help you manage your own projects, and I mean,
it just grows and grows and grows.
Yeah, there's so many things.
Yeah, because anytime an industry grows to a certain level, other industries are like, oh, there's needs and services to offer and fill inside of that. Yeah, and that's what's happening. And some of the stats,
like I'd be curious to see how fast in comparison, right? Because people going out on their own, sometimes people get forced out to do that, and they have no other option. Like, you know, they get laid off or whatever.
Yeah.
But a lot of people go out on their own and they're entrepreneurial and they want to work for themselves and grow a business and stuff. So when you have an unfair group of people out there, you know, it's just like who are entrepreneurial and they're willing to take risks and bet on themselves and all of that, then I'd be curious to see how quickly the economy is being impacted because of that niche.
Like what were some of, do you remember any of the stats that like, freelancer stats when that shift started to happen?
COVID.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, we'll have to put up a link to the resource that gave me these stats because I didn't write it down right here. But it's a really robust report around the freelancer economy. So it's awesome. And we'll make sure people can find it.
Yes. Link in bio.
Okay. So let me just read a couple that are interesting.
Okay.
A couple stats. The freelance economy is growing at triple the rate of traditional employment. 3 times faster. Okay.
Wild.
And they anticipate that over half of the workforce will be independent by 2027.
That's huge. That is a huge number.
It's a huge number. And, okay, so then this stat's really interesting to me. 51% of freelancers say there's no amount of money that would ever convince them to go back to traditional employment.
I would agree with that. 100%.
For yourself?
For myself.
Yeah.
100%.
No amount of money?
No. There's always a number. There's always a number. There's always, no, it's not even a number. There's always like an opportunity that would just be like, I can't pass this up. And probably a good number would be attached to it.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, there's nothing at this point. Because of how, oh my God, I mean, because of how I've built my thing where it's like, cool, I have a company around me that's just an LLC.
Yeah.
No problem. That's how I invoice. It all goes through there. but then I can simultaneously just build an economy kind of around myself within the freelancer universe, connecting myself to Jumpsuit. And that is where it gets interesting.
Yeah?
It gets really interesting.
Well, tell me more.
So I have 2 clients, but I have like a couple people working on those projects.
Yep.
And I just check in every once in a while. I'm like, this is good? This good? Great. Like minor project management, they know what they're doing. And they themselves are freelancers.
Yeah.
And then I say, cool, I want to do these other things in the creator economy. Great. I can take those things and start to network and operate and then provide services in that world, while then simultaneously connecting all of that to Jumpsuit, which then has this like larger network. So it's like I can live in my universe fully and focus on what I want to focus on, walk into any room, sell a product, sell a service, sell an idea, and then say, cool, yes, if I'm talking to someone that wants that thing.
Because you know you have an entire team behind you.
Yes.
Through Jumpsuit.
That can fulfill any of those things. It could be like, hey, startup guy, how's it going? You want like one video? I got you. Like just me, my company can handle that one thing for you. And then the moment that he says, cool, I now want this.
That are outside of your wheelhouse.
Yes.
Yeah.
I say, got you. Jumpsuit is connected to me. I am Jumpsuit. Like, you start with me, phase 1, phase 2. I can sell that from the beginning of the process.
You get access to a whole agency.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then a very unique agency that is living inside of the freelance economy. It like really is mind blowing when you actually see what is happening in market trends, that a company is built in this format that allows for the flexibility kind of required in today's age. We're all so connected.
Yeah.
Like we have an entire generation that is understanding how to connect digitally, and it is just ingrained in their DNA. So like, yes, being with people is also important and like required in some capacity.
Yeah.
When it comes to work, it's like people are just going to be like, cool, I'm working 3-4 jobs, living in the freelance world, probably making 2 to 3 times the amount of money because I got really efficient at that thing. And then I can offer that thing at a premium cost to 4 different people versus offering it to one and then only, there's a cap on my salary. And there's like a thing, I watched something, I'll actually find the link for this. There's a article that was talking about how there is a rise in people that have 2 to 3 jobs, but they're keeping them secret from the other employers.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, of course that's happening.
Of course it's happening.
Because they're working from home. They're doing multiple jobs. They got really efficient at it. Like that thing that I realized was possible inside of this like Jumpsuit world. I'm like, oh, people are doing it, but they're hiding it.
Yeah. And it's not just a side hustle. It's full-time employment at another company. Mm-hmm. It's wild.
More and more people figure that out over time. Then they're going to be like, oh, okay. And then it'll just become a part of culture. It'll become a part of how people work and operate.
Okay. So we know that people go out on their own and find freelancing advantageous because they have different values and priorities, right? So in this report, here's what we found. 81% of freelancers freelance to be their own boss.
100%.
81%.
81%? Wait, what?
It's a joke.
Oh, you were saying, I would say 100%.
You gotta cut it, and I get 81%, and that's gotta go in there. Yeah. It's actually really funny. Most people will get it. Okay. Ashley, did you hear that? I'm funny.
I'm so funny.
80% of freelancers freelance to have flexibility in their schedule. 78 do it in order to work from the location of their choosing. 77 freelance to have independence from things such as office dynamics.
Oh, yes.
Oh, the politics and the red tape.
Yeah. It's like, even if you are in that universe and it's a really good culture, that still exists.
Yeah.
And then there's also the question of will culture be able to be maintained And how will companies do it when things are just very, very, very digital? Because it's also important. Culture is very important.
Sure, yeah.
So it's like having the audience feel connected. And I honestly think that like a company creating content like this, where they are seeing the executives at a high level discuss, will be the thing that allows culture to be maintained, because employees can watch it like it's entertainment.
Like it's entertainment.
Yes.
And not like a talking head corporate video.
Exactly.
Trying to tell you the 5 core values.
Mm-hmm. Just be like, hey, what is happening in our company? Let's talk. Do a podcast setup. Every platform right now is like Spotify, YouTube. They are all building their platforms to accommodate podcast.
Yes.
So it's going to be a massive thing in the future. And it already is a massive thing. Like Joe Rogan's the biggest face on the internet.
Yeah.
And it's just because of a podcast. That is going to be happening at scale. And these companies are going to be like, well, we're all digital now, or we're very digital. We're working from our computers. We're looking at screens to communicate. But we need people to keep wanting to work here and operate here. So we have to build a culture.
Especially when everyone's trying to leave and become freelancers.
Exactly.
How can we get them to stay?
Yep. So building content, and even building like, you know, things where it's twice a year you get to, or like big moments where everyone comes together and there's things that are happening, and that's exciting. But like
Jumpsuits Roadshow.
Exactly. And then separate from like some live events, building just massive amounts of content that show the inner workings of the company, that show even fun things that are happening, and like, hey guys, this is like documenting a department of a company so that people can see this. This is what's happening here. That's really cool. Like, oh, now I know that person, and that person has a social profile.
Oh yeah.
That then I can then connect with and then get to know them a little bit better. But they work in my own company.
Yeah.
And that's where these little phones that we have and the content on them become this weird interconnecting machine. That's just how we're going to operate.
Yeah.
And it's happening now in little places, you know. But like, it's going to be everyone's day-to-day life.
Yeah, I completely agree.
But I'm really excited about it.